I think if I hear you call me Becky one more time, six-pack, I'm gonna pop your tops. All six of them.
Who are you?
Hi, this is Matt. Once again, we're about to another review. This is another paid request, this time for Michael. Much for that. For those interested in requesting pretty much any type of video, it could be a topic, reaction, review, re-review, topic, randomness, out of the blueness, then pretty much anything. Feel free to send it. It could be directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box, and I swear I will get to it as soon as I can. But this is for the 2000 film Bless the Child. Now, this is a film I had heard of before because one of my dear friends, Mike, OCP Communications, reviewed the film on his channel. And I thought, wow, this film seems and sounds a bit interesting. Especially for the people involved. A lot of people involved I recognize. The director, Chuck Russell. If that name sounds familiar, he did Nightmare on Elm Street 3, The Dream Warriors, one of the best in the Elm Street franchise. He did the Blob remake from 1988, one of my favorite movies, one of my favorite monster movies. I love the remake of the Blob. He also did Eraser, which is a fun, underrated Arnold movie. The Mask with Jim Carrey. A lot of good flicks. And then cast involves Kim Basinger. You have Rufus Sewell. You have Jimmy Smits. Smaller parts, you have Ian Holm, Christina Ricci. And let me go back a few bits, because some people might not even know who these actors are. Kim Basinger, she was Vicky Vale in the 1989 Batman, and I always like to see her. She hasn't been used much, especially in the past, 10, 20 years. You haven't really seen her much. I mean, she was in Grudge Match, sadly, but she wasn't a bad part of it, actually. It was like, okay, she was alright. Nice to see. Well, no, it's nice to see her again. She was in a direct-to-video film called While She Was Out, which wasn't great, but it was serviceable. It was alright. Mainly for her performance, but it had its issues. And, yeah, she wasn't always in the best films, like Cool World or Grudge Match, but yeah, it was always nice to see her. She was in Cellular, very underrated film in my opinion, with Chris Evans and Jason Statham. She's probably most famous for being in the film L.A. Confidential, which got a lot of critical buzz when it came out and awards. I think she won an Oscar for that. I can't remember. But she does a really good job here as the lead, who she's by herself in her apartment, and actually no, she's coming home. She's coming home and sees someone, thinks it's a homeless person. Hey, I don't have any money, blah, 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 but finds out it's her sister, played by an actress named Angela Bettis, who I believe was the star of films like May, which is a independent horror film, and I think she was in a TV version of Carrie, I believe. I'm not really familiar with Angela Bettis' career, but it's her sister, and her sister has a baby, and the sister is a drug addict. Kim Basinger tries to talk some sense into her. but she's like, I'll help you. By the time she turns around, the sister has left the baby with her. So Kim Basinger, even though this isn't her baby, she takes care of it. She loves it like she was the mother. And very kind, caring, good-natured woman, doing the best that she can. She's a nurse. The baby's a little bit autistic, and it's a daughter named Cody. I thought the little girl actually did a good job. She wasn't irritating. She wasn't annoying. She was rather likable. And like this handled the autistic hell lot better than what the fuck was Music, that movie I saw this year that I already forgot. I'm like, oh fuck, that did come out this year. I completely forgot, and I just reviewed it a few weeks ago. So it did that in a respectable manner, and plus you realize there's a bit more to her, which helped. That this did that better than The Predator, with autism and it's the spectrum and you have superpowers. That's what The Predator pretty much told us. In 2018, The Predator told us if you have autism, you have superpowers. Or that's what it fucking made it sound like. Technically, that's what it made it sound like. Blame Black and Decker. Shane Black and Fred Decker, who fucked up with that movie. And this is a better movie. I would rather watch. Again, it's not a great 5 out of 5, 4 out of 5 star movie, but it's a decent. Other people in the cast. Jimmy Smits plays a cop who's into the occult, who was a seminary student going up to a priesthood, but he changed his mind and he wanted to fight evil a different way as a cop. I thought that was an interesting idea, to have a cop who was going to be a priest, but now he's an FBI agent going into these occult crimes, which is kids being killed and murdered and dumped either in the water or somewhere else, and they got these marks on their arm, these symbols, which is pretty ballsy, about the death of these small children. And it's because this occult looking for a specific child. If it's not the specific child, they kill them and move on to the next one. And of course, as you can tell, it's this occult looking for this little girl, Cody. They don't know who the person is, so they're checking all these kids that were born on the same birthday. But ultimately, their search leads to the little girl, Cody, and then Kim Basinger needs to protect or get back her daughter, or how she looks at as her daughter. Jimmy Smits I liked as an actor. He was on the TV show NYPD Blue for a few years, in between David Caruso, and then I think Mark Paul Gosselaar from Saved by the Bell was on there after Jimmy Smits. He was in some of the Star Wars prequels, like little role. He was in this movie called The Believers, which was another supernatural film about the occult, only that came out in the late 80s. Good film with Martin Sheen. I enjoyed The Believers. Sadly, Jimmy Smits is one of those actors. He's a good actor, but man, he just hasn't been used much, and that's one of my little issues. I wish he was used more in this. I do think he could have been used a bit better. He's a talented guy, and he's second billed in the movie. And I'm not saying it's not an extended cameo, no. But he doesn't really get to do much until perhaps a little bit at the very end. Mainly it's him playing catch-up. Catch-up to the plot, catch-up to what's going on, while Kim Basinger and us are over here, and then Jimmy Smits is down here just kind of playing catch-up with the other cops and FBI guys. So I just wish Jimmy Smits had a bit more to do. But what he has to work with, he's good in it. The villain is played by Rufus Sewell. He was the lead in the film called Dark City. Really good picture. Really enjoyed Dark City. He plays the villain. I thought he did a good job as the leader of this occult. His facade is that he's the leader of this self-help organization. Pretty much, don't worry about God and idols and false idols. It's you and you only. Which is, I thought, kind of an interesting take. Maybe it's a dig at Scientology. I don't know. But it's kind of an interesting way of, they want to be an affront against God. So a self-help organization seemed like a kind of a bit of a more unique take on it. Instead of literally saying, fuck you, God. That sort of side hit by computer, fuck you, God. They didn't... There's a little bit more cleverness on that aspect of the script. And that's the thing, I don't think this is a 3% on Rotten Tomatoes bad. I mean, Rotten Tomatoes, I looked, 3%. I don't think it's that bad. the cast alone makes it, at the very least, a watchable time waster. You know, a decent film. I mentioned Kim Basinger. She's very likable and she's loving and easy to root for this character. Jimmy Smits, again, the whole idea of him being a seminary student, ready to be a priest, but then be an FBI agent, and again, just a good actor. Rufus Sewell, I thought he brought a nice sense of menace, but he wasn't over the top. It's not that I was scared or creeped out by him. No, not that. But I just didn't find. I did not find him hammy or corny, which this type of role could easily lead into that. Christina Ricci is in a small role. Of course, Christina Ricci, she was in the Addams Family movies back in the day, and Casper, among others. Ian Holm from Alien, who played the android Ash. He's in this. Pretty much a cameo. And this, I mean, like, the cast is fairly good. The story's not a bad setup. Again, Kim Basinger gets this baby from her sister, left it there, ran away because she's a drug addict. So Kim Basinger takes care of the kid as her own. And then about 8 years or so pass. And this little kid, then she's not all there, but she's in the care of other people, including nuns, and she starts doing these weird things. For example, can spin stuff and move stuff with her mind. There's a hurt bird. She's able to make it alive again. And again, these occult members are looking for these specific kids that was born on a certain date because they think this kid has a certain power and that this is a kid that will lead people to God. But this occult wants that power. And either they get the power or they won't kill the kid, whichever comes first. But they want the power first and foremost. And so, the story, as it unravels, people, like, when I look at critics, I agree with my friend Mike OCP, I look at critics' reviews and they compare it to The Exorcist. What the fuck does this movie have to do with The Exorcist? Nothing. I mean, there's no exorcism. So you would think if a movie that rips off The Exorcist, I don't know, there would be maybe a fucking exorcism? No, critics, there's no exorcism in this movie. So what the fuck is similar to The Exorcist? No one's possessed. No one's possessed by the devil. So what the fuck does this have to do with The Exorcist? When you say it's a rip-off of The Exorcist. Fuck's sake. But get back to this. There's some decent parts of dialogue. I like this one bit where this bird has hit a window, cracked his neck. The kids are looking at it. Kim Basinger comes by. Oh, what's going on? Oh, yeah, that something happened to this bird. Oh, you think they understand death? And then the nun goes, oh, you'd be surprised. I blame the Lion King. Which, I don't know, that made me get a little bit of a chuckle. Death of Mufasa. I mean, kind of made sense. Maybe a bunch of kids did learn death from the death of Mufasa. Now, like I said, the cast, decent production as in the cinematography. It doesn't look cheap. It doesn't look like a direct-to-video film. The story, I like that there's... I agree again with my friend Mike OCP. A lot of times in these movies, you just see the figures of evil. It's nice that you see the figures of good as well. Because again, a lot of these movies, you'll see demons or manipulations of demons. And the only view of God is what we ourselves do. That what we are capable of doing ourselves. But this movie actually does have another case where there are once in a while people that pop up that your mind goes to, oh, they were probably angels. They're at the right time to help out and guide the way a little bit. Whether help Kim Basinger out of a car that's ready to fall to her death, or her and the kid are run into the subway, someone stops it, lets them go. So I like that there's a representation of good and ain't. Because that's the thing when you watch movies like this, there's always that thing at the back of your head. Okay, you see all this stuff with demons and evil people and in this world where they're literally showing you demons swirling above people. You're like, okay, well, where are the angels? Where the fuck are the angels? Are they busy playing, I don't know, Battleship with Death from Bill and Ted? Right foot green, left foot yellow. Like, stop playing. I forgot the fucking name of that game. Oh my god. The humor would have worked better if I didn't forget the name of the fucking game. Twister. Oh, now I think of it. I was gonna say, what, are the angels playing Twister with Death from Bill and Ted? But I forgot the fucking name of the game, so that fucked up. So there you go. But that, I mean, a lot of times in those movies you're wondering that way. At least here they do a bit of that. I like that. Some people call it corny or cheesy, but I don't know. That to me was nice to see because it made the film at least a little bit different compared to The Exorcist or all these other movies that critics say are ripped off. And at one of those times, Jimmy Smits sees a janitor who gives him some nice words, and I recognize the janitor. That's Peter Mensa. Who's Peter Mensa? Sergeant Brodsky from Jason X, who was a cool character in Jason X. Would not go down without a fight against Jason X. You know, got stabbed by Jason. It's like, oh, a simple poke. It's gonna take more than that to bring this guy down. Gets another one through his stomach. Maybe that'll do. But he gets back up. I like that actor, Peter Mensa. I don't get to see him a lot. So I was like, oh yeah, I recognize that guy. Sadly, he's in like a little cameo, but it's nice to see him in there. So I didn't mind the way the story was being told. I didn't mind the actors involved. The direction by Chuck Russell was competent enough. I like the usage of seeing good as well as evil. One of the issues is the CGI is really fucking bad. Because this is the year 2000 this came out. And in this era, CGI can get pretty fucking awful. Like there's a scene where Kim Basinger has a nightmare where it's all of these rats in the little girl's room. And they look like shit. I mean, they look fucking horrible, terrible. Like, that might be a scene you'll laugh at. And part of me is like, you know what? You could just edit that out of the movie. Like, literally, you could edit it out of the movie and it wouldn't hurt the movie. In fact, it would just help the movie. And because there's so many rats and there's a little girl in there, of course, they don't want the little girl to be in danger. And put all these real rats in there. I understand that, but then change it to something else. Or be more subtle. Doesn't have to be 1,000 fucking rats in there. Do something a bit more subtle. Or do something a bit more creepy. Or do something a little bit more... That can be done. But I just, yeah. And then sometimes when you see like these little demons floating around and one person, all of a sudden their face turns to a monster, then goes back. The CGI is really piss poor. Another thing is some of the actors, I thought they were underutilized because I like them as actors. Christina Ricci. I can understand her short role because she's a drug addict, but she used to know this occult and she's trying to leave it and warn Kim Basinger what's going on. Like her small part, I can understand. And she's kind of there for the exposition. Like we need someone to give Kim Basinger the exposition of this occult. That's her job. Okay, I can understand that. But Ian Holm, good actor. Not just Alien, but The Fifth Element and many others. He plays a priest in a wheelchair, and honestly, he didn't bring anything... Like, it's cool to see him. May he rest in peace. Good actor. But if you cut him out, you would not miss anything. He's in one scene, and honestly... Anything he told Kim Basinger, we the audience already knew, and Kim kind of already knew too. I mean, by this point, she had already been told pretty much everything by Christina Ricci's character, and even Rufus Sewell telling her during a confrontation or two. So Kim Basinger already knew all the info. Ian Holm, I don't even get why he was there in the first place. I didn't. He appeared in one scene. I don't remember ever seeing him again. And I'm like, okay, that's kind of a waste of that actor, and that this is a character that you could have easily edited out, and literally you could edit this scene, edit one or two things, boom. You would not have even noticed. So I just thought that felt like a shoehorn character. That felt like, oh, we got Ian Holm, plug him in somewhere. I don't know where. Oh, make up this character, priest in a wheelchair. Well, we kind of already have this exposition. Well, just throw some other stuff in there and boom. And Jimmy Smits, I wish Jimmy Smits was utilized more. Like I said, a lot of times he's just playing catch up with the FBI and the police behind Kim Basinger. And he does do a little bit at the very end, but just a little bit. I would have preferred if the movie was more the two of them together. Not romantic, I don't want that, but like the two of them helping each other out. Jimmy believes in Kim, but they don't believe in Jimmy, so it's like, hey, I'll stick with you. Maybe he'll make a call, someone doesn't believe him, he goes along with Kim, and you get this race, whether it be a race against time or a race against... I guess it would be a race against time. I just wish there was more of the two of them together. And there are good chunks where Jimmy Smits is not in the movie. I like the actor. The character could be pretty interesting with the setup. I just don't think they utilized them as well as they could have. I think that was a missed opportunity. I'm like, wow, Jimmy Smits can pull this role off fairly well. Just script-wise was not utilized as nearly as much as he should have. I mean, in the third act, he's with Kim Basinger at the final place, and then he gets beaten up and left behind until at the very end he shows up again. But it's like, oh man. And yeah, there's certain bits of the script that went really... Like there's a moment where Kim Basinger gets the kid and they're in the car and they're being chased. And then there's a point where she stops a cop car. Cop doesn't make it. So then the bad guy's car is coming back. Kim Basinger just opens up the door and says go. And the kid moves like 3 feet. Hides at a tree. So of course the bad guys, what do? They stop, grab the girl, and leave. I'm like, you fucking idiot. Why didn't you start the car again and go? Or run out and get into the cop's car or something. You literally went, open up the door, hey, go, Cody. And then she walks 2-3 feet, and then they grab her. I'm like, you fucking idiot. That just seemed like a very, like a cringeworthy, come on. This is like, we need to have a reason as to why the bad guys have her at the third act, so our lead can go get her. This is such a... I don't know what the word I'm looking for. Contrived part of the script where, oh yeah, there's a bad guy in a car coming at me. I'm gonna let a 10-year-old girl run outside of the car. Yeah, you go. What do you think she was going to do? Run all the way to fucking Bethlehem? Like, what the... Fly away? I went, what the fuck? Really? Just start the car and drive. Fuck you doing? You're in a car. The car didn't look like it was that broken. Like, you stopped the car in front of the cop car to talk to him, and they bashed the side of it going by, but... If you haven't seen the film, you don't know what I'm talking about. But it's just, come on. Come on. I think that could have been written a bit better. Less contrived. But yeah, I did like the cast in this. That helped quite a bit. I do like Kim Basinger's character. The fact that she's willing to go through all this for a girl that technically is not hers, but is going to care for. I thought the little girl did a really good job. She was not irritating or annoying. She was very likable, very sweet, cute, kind little girl. And I thought, like I said, there were some nice lines of dialogue, like when Kim Basinger gets a gun to Rufus Sewell and she goes, I never fired a gun before, but I bet at this range I'm dead on. I think mainly I like the way Kim Basinger said that line, because she is a rather good actress. And like I said, I like the fact that you see some of the good of the supernatural helping as well as the bad. Now, yeah, there may be portions that people feel like they may feel the ending is a bit corny. I don't know, for me, I could deal with it. I didn't feel it was as corny as some people make it out to be. Maybe because I get the intention. I thought the intention was rather sweet as I'm bouncing my fucking desk around here. And when you're dealing with angels and demons, it's kind of hard. I guess depending on your beliefs, whether that goes into corny territory or not. I'm of the option of I want to believe. I want to believe in that. And open-minded, so I guess that's why I don't find it as corny. Maybe someone who's a lot less inclined to believe in that stuff or open to believe in that stuff, maybe they would feel it's more corny. But yeah, I thought at the very least the way the actors play their roles, the story was decent enough that I didn't feel it was a rip-off of Rosemary's Baby or The Exorcist or The Omen. That's another thing. They say it's a rip-off of The Omen. How? Well, it's a little kid and got powers. Okay. That's like... Think of a popular critically praised movie. Now my brain... That's like saying The Exorcist is a ripoff of Rosemary's Baby because it has something to do with the devil or something. I mean, that's really lame. Very weak. Very thin. I think it's just people who... If you don't like the film, that's fine. Again, it's not a perfect, awesome film. But it's not nearly a bad movie. It really isn't. I'm sorry this review went all over the place, but... I didn't, just sort of the confused... I don't think it's the outright hatred it deserves. At the very least, if you like some of these actors or you're open to movies about the supernatural, it's not really a horror film. Sometimes it's labeled that way. Like supernatural thriller probably is better. Although there's a point where someone's head falls off. Not going to say whose. Which is... kind of a, maybe that's sort of a nod to Chuck Russell's gorier previous films like Elm Street 3, The Blob. And I was like, oh shit, I didn't expect that. But yeah, some really wanty CGI. I think the writing could have been a little bit stronger in certain points. And just again, Ian Holm, either use that actor more or you just cut that character out because it didn't really bring much of anything. Also, Jamie Smits, I wish he was much more into the current status with Kim Basinger and the two of them going on this journey together. I did not as romantic. I'm glad they didn't go that route, but just like a Fox Mulder, Dana Scully, early X-Files where they are, I'm not saying, where they're taking on this event together. In a respect manner. Of course, Kim Basinger has a bit more personal basis on this. I wish Jimmy Smith was utilized more. The score, not a bad score by Christopher Young. Guy who did the score to Hellraiser 1 and 2 and Copycat. And very solid composer. Didn't do a bad job on the score. Doesn't end on a stupid, out of the blue, what the fuck note, which is also nice. So yeah, Bless the Child, if you see the trailer and you like the cast, it's worth a look. It's not a bad film. It's interesting to watch, and with all those other, like I said, there's Lost Souls and Stigmata. End of Days is my favorite of the bunch. I love End of Days. But yeah, not a bad film. Not a bad film. So with that said, thanks for watching. Take care. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.